If you're in a CPA firm, you know the feeling. Tax season rolls around and it's more than just a busy period. It feels like a structural problem that just gets a little worse every single year. Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down how you can actually transform that annual chaos into a manageable strategic process.
This is the question, isn't it? It's the one every firm partner asks themselves, probably late at night, staring at a mountain of paperwork. It's that moment you realize that just working harder, pulling more all-nighters, it's just not a sustainable strategy anymore. The old way has hit its breaking point.
And for so many firms, this has become the new normal. Tax season feels, well, unwinnable. It's this recurring monster that just demands a totally new solution, not just more of the same old effort. And these struggles, they're probably all too familiar. You've got massive backlogs in the review queue, which then pulls partners away from the high-level strategy work they should be doing and throws them right back into basic prep. And all this is happening while trying to find experienced local preparers is getting tougher and way more expensive. It's just a vicious cycle that feeds on itself. So the traditional approach, just piling on overtime and making some frantic last-minute hires, it's just not cutting it anymore. Let's take a quick look at exactly why. This slide really lays out the two mindsets perfectly. On one side, you have the old, reactive approach. It's all about constant pressure, which just leads to burnout. But on the other side, you have the strategic approach. This is proactive. You're planning for capacity, you're building year-round stability, and you're gaining predictable control over your workflow. And that brings us to a much smarter way to think about staffing. This is all about viewing offshore support not as some temporary patch, but as a deliberate, integrated part of your firm's core operating model. You see, the real key here is to completely reframe what offshoring even means. This isn't just about handing off a few tasks. It's about building a planned, structured extension of your own team, one that's fully woven into your processes and your goals. Okay, so how does this actually work day to day? This is where it gets really interesting, with a super clear division of labor. Your offshore team can become experts at handling all that foundational work, the tax prep, compiling the work papers, all the documentation. And what does that do? It frees up your onshore team to focus exclusively on the highest value tasks, the final critical review, direct client communication, and long-term strategic planning for your clients and your firm. And you might be wondering, why India specifically? Well, it's a preferred choice for a few really good reasons. There's a deep pool of accounting talent that's already aligned with U.S. tax practices. They know the software, they get federal and state compliance, which means they can start contributing effectively almost from day one. Now, once you implement a strategy like this, something amazing starts to happen. It creates this positive ripple effect that can transform your firm's performance way beyond just tax season. I mean, this visual says it all, doesn't it? Just look at the shift in how partners are spending their time. Before, a huge chunk of their valuable time is eaten up by prep work. But after, that time is completely reclaimed for leadership, for growth, for real client strategy. That's not just an improvement, that's a total game changer. And the benefits just cascade through the entire firm. You see a measurable drop in overtime and burnout, which does wonders for morale. Turnaround times get way better, and suddenly you actually have the capacity to take on new clients without hitting that familiar ceiling. And maybe most importantly, your service quality becomes more consistent and way more reliable. And let's not forget the clients. They might never even speak to your offshore team, but believe me, they absolutely feel the positive impact. Their emails get answered faster, there are fewer frustrating delays, and the communication they get from your team is just calmer and more proactive. That kind of reliability becomes your new competitive advantage.
Okay, I get it. A change this significant is naturally going to bring up some questions. It's a big step, so let's just tackle the most common concerns I hear, head on.
This is probably the number one concern, right? This fear of losing quality control, this worry that an external team just won't be able to match the high standards your firm has built over the years.
But here's the thing. You manage this fear through process. By investing upfront in really clear documentation. Think checklists, defined review stages, clear guides. You ensure everyone is aligned on your standards. It's all about building a reliable system, not just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best.
All right, the second big fear. Great, another thing for me to manage. The last thing a partner needs is another layer of management adding to their already overloaded plate. And look, it's true there is an upfront investment in planning and setup. You got to put in the work at the beginning. But the long-term result is almost always a decrease in day-to-day management stress. Once the system is up and running, it creates a ton of predictability and seriously reduces the number of fires you have to put out.
Finally, there's this common misconception out there that this kind of strategy is only for the giants of the industry, that it's too complex or too expensive for smaller players.
But that's just not true. In fact, you could argue that small and mid-sized firms often see the biggest benefits because this model gives them a level of flexibility and scalability they could never afford to build locally. It lets them punch way above their weight class.
So, as we bring this all together, the solution really boils down to one fundamental shift in thinking. It's about moving from a reactive mindset to a proactive one.
This is the one phrase I really want you to take away from all this. Instead of just bracing for chaos every year, you start planning for capacity. You build a resilient system that can handle those workload spikes without breaking your team or compromising the quality of your work.
And it is so important to see this as more than just a quick fix for tax season. When you do this right, it becomes a foundational piece of a modern, stable, and scalable firm, a model that is truly built for sustainable, long-term growth.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. As you look ahead to the next tax season and all the years beyond, is your firm truly built for resilience? Or is it stuck in that endless cycle of just reacting to pressure? The answer to that question will really define your future.